Okay, so welcome down to this week's Friday Fix. I'm on the first hole at Heron's Reach in Blackpool, and today's fix is going to absolutely transform the way you hit your irons. So I've been back coaching now since lockdown has reopened golf courses in England for a couple of weeks, and I would say over 50% of the golfers I've seen have actually struggled with this exact subject of not really striking their irons how they want. When they do strike it well, maybe not hitting it far enough. And I thought, if the golfers that are seeing me face to face are doing this wrong or not quite understanding it properly, this could be a great subject to put out for you guys, and hopefully, like I've said, it transforms your iron game. Right, so I've got 5 golf balls in a line here, and the reason I've got them in a line is hopefully it'll help you understand how we want to deliver the golf club and how the best players in the world deliver their club, maybe slightly differently to how you would. So the first shot, what I tend to see with a lot of golfers that struggle with their irons is from a pretty decent address position, they will either take a big divot that we can see there. The divot's actually started behind where the golf ball was. So all the turf has taken the energy and that one went nowhere. Or the next shot we'll see is from that setup, the top of the ball. And if I'm being honest, I don't actually know which one of those feels worse. But we're going to get rid of that, and we're going to get you hitting the golf ball more like the best players in the world. So the first thing we need to understand is when we swing the golf club, that club moves in a circular motion around your body. And a lot of golfers talk about how they feel they need to hit down on the golf ball. Please, please, please don't try and hit down, because if you're this person, that divot just gets deeper and the ball goes even shorter. That one, you'll end up just becoming the first golfer. So because the club moves in a circle, at some point it moves up, then it moves down, it reaches its lowest point and then moves back up. So what we're looking to do is get the lowest point of our golf swing this side of the golf ball. So we would want to hit ball and then ground. So ideally, what we would be looking for is, we can see there, golf ball, then the turf, then the divot gets a little bit deeper. So my lowest point was actually quite a few inches ahead of the golf ball, but certainly the divot started just after the ball. Now, I think for a lot of golfers, they'll even, if you're watching this, you probably say, I know that, but I can't do that. That's the biggest challenge. So the problem I've seen with all the golfers really that I see face to face is maybe a misconception of what they believe should happen in their swing. So from here, a lot of golfers will feel that their weight is fairly 50-50. What I'll normally see is even some golfers actually sit a little bit more into their back leg, thinking it's going to help them get under the golf ball. But most of the top players in the world actually just slightly have a little bit more weight and pressure into that lead foot. Now what we see on the way back with the best players in the world though is as they swing, that trail hip turns behind them, so you don't see much of a move off the golf ball. But like I said, everyone I've seen face to face lately, as they try and shift their weight, they move a long way off the golf ball and the hips slide rather than turn. Now the problem with that is when the good player turns, as he shifts his weight forward, we can see now my weight's into my lead leg, the shaft's leaning forward, my body's turned out the way, and that's going to move the low point ahead of the golf ball, and we can see me touching the ground ahead. The problem is when you move off the ball, you've got an awful long way to move, and you can see if I move off, it's very easy for me to catch behind. Now that's a huge difference. There's probably 7-8 inches difference in those. So what I want you to work on is from your address position, I want you to feel there's a little bit more weight on that front leg, and then as you start swinging back, I want you to feel that trail hip moves behind you. So almost if a line ran up my trail leg, I would never move outside that line. Now, it can be a very different feeling for a lot of golfers, and I know a couple of the pupils I've seen face to face have actually said it feels like they're not moving their weight at all. So what you would see if I stood on a pressure mat though, is as I'm here and my hands move that way, my pressure will start to move. I don't need to move all of the mass of my body too much to the side. So have a couple of practice swings, and if you need, it's perfect on the grass. From there, turn back, and then you can shift forward. And we can see there, my divot probably started 3-4 inches ahead of the golf ball. Now, if you're somebody that hits back here, that actually might even be too far. You might thin a few because the club hasn't got low enough. But I think you'll take that as opposed to the usual chunk top that you might get with your iron shots. So then the key is to put it into practice. So set up to the golf ball. Remember, we're going to let that trail hip move behind and then move towards the target in the downswing. I just picked that one a little bit, so didn't take much of a divot, but a very shallow one. But we can see the divot probably starting a couple of inches ahead. Again, a great strike. Maybe a little bit lower than I would normally launch it, but I don't mind. That's something I could do even better. And I'll just move this one back here. So again, same idea. I need to make sure that I don't try and move my weight, turn on the way back, then I can shift into that lead foot and swing all the way through. And that is absolutely pure. And I promise, if you can do that better, you will transform the way you hit your irons. Right then guys, so like I said, for some golfers, it's a little bit of a misconception about trying to move that weight. And because they move their weight too much, they've just got too far to move back to get that low point in the right place. So if you work on turning more in your backswing, then as you transfer your weight in the downswing, you'll move more ahead of the golf ball, get that shaft lean, get ball and then turf, compress your irons, strike your irons pure, but just absolutely change the way you hit your iron shots. Also works very nicely with hybrids and fairway woods. But the idea today was to transform your iron game. And if you can do that, just like the golfers that have seen me face to face in the last 2 weeks, that will absolutely change the way you strike your irons. So guys, hope you've enjoyed today's video. If you have, like it and share it, comment below. Let me know what you'd like me to cover in future Friday fixes. It's not that I run out of ideas, but it's always nice to be able to do something that'll benefit someone that's asked. But if you have enjoyed the video and you don't currently subscribe, click the button below, ring the notification bell, and then you'll find out whenever I drop a new video. Follow me on all my social media platforms, all under Ali Taylor Golf. Hopefully catch up with some of you guys down here soon. Stay in contact.